to Equatorial Guinea. The terms of contract of Samson Siasia was very clear. That one, you have to qualify us for Nations Cup. Two, you have to take us to the semi-final. And if you are not able to do this, your contract will be terminated. It was very clear. When we drew with Guinea, I had thought that a proactive Nigerian Football Federation would have taken an immediate decision to sack Samson Siasia. But we have wasted about 3 weeks debating whether to sack Siasia or not. Then, good 18, they've eventually taken a decision to sack him. Rather than name an immediate replacement, I hear that the technical committee will meet on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, to take a decision, look at what would happen, and then make recommendation to the board. And that recommendation, the board of Nigerian Football Federation, the executive board, will now sit the upper week. And as we speak, that board will now come, take a look at whatever recommendation that was made by Barrister Green's technical committee, and then give them go ahead to begin to interview coaches and all that. By the time we do all this Babachir movement, so to speak, we are into either November, December, and we are supposed to start the Nations Cup qualifier for 2013 in January. So as I speak with you, Chamberlain, we're already laying the foundation for our failure. And that is the truth. Come to look at it. Zambia, for instance, qualified for the Nations Cup. They were not too satisfied with the performance of Coach Bonetti. They sacked him immediately after that game against Libya. And as I speak with you, they have appointed another coach.
I thought Bonetti had issues with FIFA or the Zambia
sacked him, and then they appointed another coach. They've just appointed
have another coach now. Okay.
So Cameroon lost out just like Nigeria, and they've appointed another coach. Immediately. So why is it taking us time to, one, decide whether to sack somebody? Sentiments now come in. People were whipping us sentiment in support of Samson Siasia that he has started a rebuilding process. He should be left behind and all that. If we had taken that decision immediately after that game against Equatorial Guinea that you did not meet up with your terms of contract, by now, Siasia would have been history long ago and would have taken a decision to hire a new coach. But as we speak now, Chamberlain, immediately Samson Siasia was sacked, I thought that they would have taken a decision to appoint, even if it is on interim basis, a new coach. But now we are leaving everything, we are leaving the Eagles without a coach.
Can we sack the members of the NFF?
People say they are elected, but I know that the problem of Nigerian football, truth be told, is that the problem of Nigerian football goes beyond coaching. And like the former assistant coach of Super Eagles, Fatai Amao, said to me on phone the other day, that, George, even if you bring a Jose Mourinho to this country or a Pep Guardiola, that he will fail. And I think I agree with him to a large extent.
Why is that?
Yeah, because in the first place, himself and Amadou Shuaibu qualified us for Nations Cup, qualified us for World Cup and all that, and they were fired. Now we had a new coach who has failed to qualify us for any of these things. We started the debate on whether he should be hired. These are administrative issues that we should tackle immediately without rigmarolling.
If they don't want to resign, what do we do?
There are, one, they are elected board. People have made that argument. But, like I said, if you don't perform, you take an exit. But come to look at it, even Samson Siasia himself, because it is not in the character of any Nigerian to resign. Samson Siasia should not have waited for anybody to fire him. He should ordinarily have resigned. But he was now begging, lobbying people to stay when he knows he has failed. In the case of Nigerian football, we know that we have fundamental problems that goes beyond coaching. There are issues that must be resolved. We must make reforms in our football administration. We must be more proactive. This idea of people holding meetings upon meetings is not good for us. We must take decisions. And come to look at it, in the real sense of the word, the board of Nigerian Football Federation, by the act establishing them, they are not supposed to meet more than 3 times in a year. But these are people that meet every now and then. What is the glass house supposed to be doing? They are supposed to be a secretary general, for Christ's sake. And people have even swept that one behind. The person who is the secretary general of Nigerian Football Federation at the moment is supposed to be in acting capacity. But today, he's beginning to sign letters as Executive Secretary General of Nigerian Football Federation. People have swept under the carpet the fact that he was supposed to be in acting capacity. So there are so many things wrong with football administration in the country.
How do we begin to get it right? Because we can't keep up this way.
Well, that is where I even blame the supervising ministry, the National Sports Commission. They are supposed to take the bull by the horn and ensure that things get right. And when you want to talk about reforms again, the same people will tell you that, oh, we're elected. FIFA will hammer us and all that. But don't forget that even even in Britain, the government has given the British Football Association up to February next year to go for reforms. And FIFA is not saying anything about it. So why must the case of Nigeria be different?
So why can't we toe the same line?
There must be reforms in our football. And once we have these reforms, and what we are saying is that there shouldn't be these policies of exclusion in Nigerian football. When people are there, they see themselves as a cabal. And even when you make recommendations that should move the game forward, they say you as an enemy. So there should be an all-inclusive thing in the running of football. People with ideas should be allowed to make their input so that at the end of the day, we'll become members of one big family. Rather than this idea, one of the problems of our football is that the fact that people who are there tend to see themselves as, yes, we are the ones running the show now. Every other person should be an outsider. And I don't think that is good for us.
How did we get to the point where Ukeria Uche had no contract?
Well, Ukeria Uche did not tell any Nigerian before now that she had no contract. Just the same way John Obu did not tell anybody that he was being owed salaries. And immediately they are out of job, they begin to now disclose things that ordinarily they should have made noise about before now.
Could there be an oath of secrecy or something? Are you aware of anything?
There's no oath of secrecy. The point is that our coaches are too timid to make their points. And that is even where
so they're part of their own
they're part of the problem.
Themselves.
Yes, they are their own problem. Before now, Ukeria Uche was working without a contract. So why is Nigeria getting to know now that she has no contract when the market is over? Buyers and sellers should be going home. John Obu, who was the under-20 coach, did not tell Nigerians. He was not bold enough to come out and tell Nigerians that I was being owed salaries.
And this was for more than a year, we understand.
He was being owed 17 months' salary. And there is no foreign coach, if you bring one here today, that will take that from you. If you don't pay him at the end of the month,
it with the foreign coaches, why do we do it to our own people?
Even if you bring the foreign, that is where we'll talk of administration. If you bring a foreign coach here, don't forget that there was a time Nigeria signed Carlos Alberto Pereira when the Nigerian Football Federation was still at Ogulana Drive here. The man was supposed to sign a contract in the morning. In the evening, he flew back to Brazil and said he wasn't coming back because he looked at the setup and said he couldn't work in this environment. If you bring a foreign manager here, before you say Jack Robinson, the man will go because he will not take some of the things the Nigerian coaches take. And at the end of the day, even when the Nigerian coaches take it, they keep quiet. It's only when they fail that they begin to come out to complain.
It's a big problem.
So it's a big problem. Now people are clamoring that we should go for a foreign manager. But we had foreign managers here who failed. We brought Betty Vogt here. We brought Ty Librett here. We brought Lagabak here. And all of them failed.
Nigerian football will not move forward if we continue this way.
We are just running a vicious cycle. And if we continue with this vicious cycle without making reforms, without really planning, we'll continue to fail.
Since we've already sacked ourselves from a lot of this international competition, so
Mr. President wanted to stop us for 2 years, but now we have succeeded in stopping ourselves.
So now that we stopped ourselves, why don't we just get back to the basics? Will there be anything wrong and say, okay, whether you're elected or not, if you fail to resign, I'm sorry, we have to kick you out. Even if FIFA bounces for 2 years, we're already out of this for 2 years. So,
in fact, the only thing that we're